What I want to do is we have questions of indicators, patterns. There's all this. There are 1,000 ways to trade anything, but crypto is slightly different than a business because one, crypto has no value except for the money that has been placed into it by people who believe that it's going to be worth something in the future. So unlike stocks, which are normally companies with IPOs, products, CEOs, all types of moving parts that make it valuable, crypto's only value is considered every crypto's an ICO, which is the beginning of a project. They have to build the project, create all these things. So there is no income or residual income coming into crypto that they keep and maintain their profit. They actually do the exact opposite, which is they get you to invest in their project and then they take the money and build their company, which will then one day hopefully give back to the project, or more than likely they'll just keep all the money and create an IPO on the regular exchange, sort of what XRP is going to do to all its holders. So let's go over how to trade this and piece it into where we can get it set up where we have a, I don't need to appeal that, man. We don't really care about this TikTok live recommendation stuff, but let's get to where we understand what we're doing in the basics right now, where you can be profitable inside of crypto and understand that hodling and holding, I don't know, I hope you guys learned your lesson here that hodling does not work. So all those people that told you to hodl, like Zach and all these, Sage, all these people that were like, hold, buy at $2, 208, it's going crazy, 198, blah blah blah. Look where you're at. You hit 118, you lost 50% of your money, right? How many people lost 50% of the money? All right, so I feel like it's just annoying to have spot them out. Why not have them if my strategy involves it? Okay, so let me go back there where, let me see if I can invite you up here. So Michael, let me see. I don't see you on the multiples, right? So we have multiple guest contributions to this live. I can do multiple with Nikki. Let me see if I can get innovative up here. I don't know how or why I can't get more people on the upside, right? So strategies and things of those sorts. So let's go over here, Michael. Michael, let me see what you're saying here. So we have Michael's in the comments. He says, I feel like it's just annoying to have to spot them out. Why not have it if my strategy involves it? Yeah, you can have it in your strategy. You can put it in your strategy. You can build it with it, right? So so for you, when you have these indicators, you're using an indicator. Let's see which one. Which indicator are you using again? Order and breaker block indicators, right? So order and breaker block indicators. So let's see if I can find a, do you know what's the indicator you're using, man? What are you on TradingView? What indicator are you using for your order blocks and your breakers? What's the name of the indicator, Big Mike? Michael. Welcome in, guys. Don't forget to share the live. Let's dig in. We're going to show you how to take advantage of these huge opportunities right now in crypto, even though everyone who tells you when to buy is wrong and tells you when to sell is wrong. You need to learn how to do this yourself and get yourself up here. So we're just waiting on an indicator here. So order block. Okay, let me see if I can just pull it up here basically to see which one is the best, because I don't know which one you're using, but we can take a peek here, Michael, and see. You bring up, I don't use order and breaker block indicators. Order and breaker block indicators, right? So I'm going to go over here to Google, and I'm going to see if I can find the best one. So we got order and breaker block indicators on TradingView. So let's see if there's, you know, what's on there. Order and breaker block breakers on indicators. Smart Algo Pro Indicator. Best order block indicators on TradingView. This is new. I'm gonna take a look at this. This is by Lux Algo. Only breaker block indicator on TradingView you need. This was a month ago, and this is free. Okay. So let's check out these 3 videos. Let me show you guys how to do research, right? Because the most important thing is once you hear something, once you believe something, you gotta go do the research it takes to, you know, find out what it is, right? So let's take a look at this real quick.
In trading, but with hundreds of methods and videos on this concept, it's nearly impossible to know exactly how to draw or use them effectively until now. We went ahead and dug through thousands of order block concepts and teachings to develop one of the most comprehensive methods of detecting and displaying order blocks ever seen on the platform. And while doing so, we found some very interesting observations you're going to want to know about. So, with the help of some of the best programmers on the platform, we set out to develop and integrate what the best way to implement. Order blocks refers to areas in the market where significant buying and selling activity accumulates before a large move. These areas are theorized to be used for liquidity by large institutions, so when the price returns to these levels, typically there will be a strong reaction. Now, whether the theory is true or not, we needed to figure out exactly how to identify these areas. We wanted to make sure they had practical use cases, and after careful observation, we started to notice something. Across all methods of detecting order blocks, one single thing remained consistent. As the price moves away from an order block, this causes a shift in market structure, creating a change of character or a break of structure. So in our indicator, bullish order blocks are positioned at the low of bullish structures, and bearish order blocks are positioned at the high of bearish structures. But there's one problem. When order blocks are detected and price returns to those areas, we noticed that a lot of them are completely ignored. So knowing where order blocks were located wasn't enough. We needed to go deeper. That's when we decided to take the volume data and...
See, now that's where you see that they're actually coming up with the understanding, right? The one thing that I'm going to tell you guys that always stays true is volume is king, right? And I need to make a video on that, and I need to just put it out there so you guys understand. Volume is the only reason something goes up or down. So volume is king. I don't care what pattern, I don't care what you see. Volume is the only thing that matters. And the fact that they just said that right there kind of puts me in a perspective that they know a little bit about what they're doing here. So let's proceed on to see if this actually brings us something worth
plotted on the order block,
viewing.
But we didn't stop there. We then separated that data into buying and selling activity, where the green bar shows the total buying volume and the red bar shows the total selling volume. So as the price returns to these areas, you can see if there is more buying or selling happening at that level. It also provides a percentage to show how significant an order block may be based on the total trading activity, allowing you to identify potentially weak and strong order blocks. But that wasn't enough. When an order block is mitigated, this leaves behind what's called a breaker block. Buyers or sellers are theorized to now be trapped at these levels. And if price returns to this area, those traders will start to close their positions. This activity may cause price to move further in the direction of the break. With this understanding, we went ahead and integrated what we call volumetric order blocks. This allows users to not only automatically detect order blocks on the chart, but also get valuable information about those blocks to make more informed trading decisions. We even include tons of customization methods, allowing flexibility on how users may want to use these features to tackle the constantly changing landscape that is the market. Now that you made it this far, let's dive into some examples. Then we're going to reveal an insight that 80% of users are unaware of when trading with these order blocks. First, go to the settings of the price action concepts indicator.
All right, so Lux Algo price action, right? So let's slide over here and we're going to go to price action, right? And I have my, so right here you can see that VC making trading easy price action tracker. We already have indicators set up for the price action. So now we got to find Lux Algo, which might be this right here. Let me go back to the video. Lux Algo price action concepts. So right here it's locked. So it looks like we're gonna have to purchase this, which is interesting. Invite only. Okay. So they're selling this indicator. Let's see what they talk about here, and we'll move from that.
And you'll see volumetric order block high of the market. So let's wait for a retracement. The indicator has already automatically plotted an order block for you below this change of character. And if we look at that order block, we see that there's more sellers than buyers in that area, yet the price went higher. This could be an indication that the sellers are exhausted at these levels, and a return to this area could be a pull on liquidity to go higher. In this other example, we see that a bearish market structure was created with more selling activity, which could mean that price has a strong probability of continuing to trend without an immediate retracement to the order block area. But if the price does return to that order block and it's mitigated, we can go back to settings and enable breaker blocks. This will plot the level where the order block was mitigated, and as the price returns to this level, we can use it as a break and retest to seek longs as a potential reversal setup. We also included a time frame feature allowing users to see order blocks from any higher or lower time frame. Here, we can see we're on a 30-minute chart, but I can use the time frame option to display order blocks detected on a 4-hour time frame, potentially identifying more significant areas on the chart. These are just some of the many use cases for these volumetric order blocks. That being said, here's a secret that most traders aren't aware of when trading order blocks. When an order block is created, the data shown on the order block is not just for the specific candles it's drawn from. It actually extends beyond those candles, providing data for the entire structural shift. Meaning, you'll get to know the trading activity of that entire block of price action, providing never-before-seen insights for sentiment analysis. The indicator includes other features, such as a mitigation method. This is set to close by default, and an order block will be considered mitigated only when price closes below a bullish order block or above a bearish order block. But you also have the options of wick and average. The hide overlap option is very helpful in situations where there are overlapping order blocks displayed on the chart. Enabling this option will cause the indicator to only display the most relevant ones. The length option will allow you to change what swing points are used to detect bites, and choosing price action concepts, or by using the ChatGPT feature and be able to find out more on those changes at luxalgo.com by going to resources. Select this video helps you better understand.
All right, so order blocks, I mean, at the end of the day, the good thing about this video, if you guys were paying attention, they kind of went over the one thing that people miss, and I love watching these videos, you have to get educated on this, right? So the one thing that really works here is the fact that when they explain this, right? I know you guys are all listening to, what the sales pitch, but what I'm listening for is the backside information, right? So what they're doing is they realize that order blocks that are bullish end up being bearish, and order blocks that are bearish could be bullish depending on the exhausted selling, meaning that people can only sell so much and people can only buy so much. This is why the indicator that we use, which is our indicator, you'll see right here, is basically set up to see that already happening, right? So right here, I'll show you. We can see where this is pretty much already happening. See how this 1 hour here? So just so an example here, right? So here we have an option here, and I'll show you guys a couple little things here. We have wave 1. We have wave 2. Right, and here you can see this is the 1 hour wave, right? So you have the 1 hour breaking positive, right? 1 hour going below positive, right? And then that would be your entry point right there, and you would be looking for this to break higher. Now, as you can see, it's failing to make what we call a moon here, which is a round circle, right, where they connect, and that is the next move up. Now, we want to see in a smaller time frame, around 30 minutes, to see if the 30-minute is holding positive volume, right, which is right here. When this breaks above positive, it has to retest the positive line, and then that would create the long that we're looking for, which it shows right now. You can see, let me pull up this indicator right here. You see right here how the orange line is bending up right there? You see that right there, guys? See how this is bending up right here? See that little bend? It's gaining volume. So what we're going to do is slide to the 15-minute to validate whether or not it is getting value. And we can see here we have a blue moon, which is the pullback that we want. And then we know that if we're going to go long here, we would be looking for a 10-minute green moon, right? So you see this right here? If the 10-minute can hold positive volume right here, which it is, you're going to see this pullback. This was the pullback to here. And now you're going to see where this long starts to develop. So far, everything looks like we are in our long position where we're supposed to be. And it does look like we're going to continue to warp our way up. And then the smaller time frames are agreeing that this is starting to build some momentum here. And this is where, you know, we also look for exhaustion, right? And you can see that we have a 2-minute moon coming. We have a lot of things coming here. So this is going to be an area that's pretty much considered a consolidation level where it's deciding what it's going to do. So if we hop out of here real quick, we can slide over. We can take a look at what's called a channel, right? Or what you guys want, what we're talking about today is order blocks, right? So order blocks, right? And I think I have... what's the order blocks? There isn't a free order blocks. There we go. Okay. So here's the order blocks and breaker blocks by Luxago. This is a free version. And this is something that we've seen before. We have taught on this and a little less information here, but basically, here's your order blocks. This is the buy zone, right? These are the buy zones, and these are the take profit zones, right? It needs to break above here to kind of show what it's doing. But what I want you guys to see here is that this is basically, you know, coming down here on the 2-minute, right? This is where the 2-minute time frames and the lower time frames come in handy to get you guys closer to the clusters or the what we call the channels, the parallel channels, right? So here you can see that it has hit the bottom over here of a buy, right? And all this is support. So order blocks are just support and resistance, you know, put together on a block, right? Where things come together. So this block really is just a support, is just a cluster or a support and resistance, right? So this is the first, this is the block that of orders that we're looking at, this purple box here, right? You guys see that? This is the block. Now, what happens is when it breaks this block, right, just like any trade or anything that people are looking for, they're looking for a very specific thing. They're looking for a breakout, right? I'll make this white. Then they're looking for a retest, right, which is here. A retest of the resistance, which we got. You guys can see right there. Here's the retest. Then from here, we would be looking for this to eventually climb up and get into these higher order blocks. Now this right here, you guys can see my entry. You can see all this stuff right here. This is the long that we're looking for. It pops up early, but it's very important to know that from these areas, you have to plan into your support and resistance, right? So this is why when you tell me about order blocks, you know, order blocks can be very it's a strategy. It's a strategy that, you know, has, depending on how you use it, it's just a way of having support and resistance, and it's literally Fibonacci's, right? So if I went over here and I added, let's say, the Fibonacci's, right? You guys are going to see that the order blocks are simply Fibonacci's, right? So I'm going to put this in here. I'm going to grab a fib. All right, now if I go over here to my Fibonacci's, right? Let me make some changes over here. I like to have my stuff where everything is set up a certain way. Like one, I like to have my inputs correct. I like to extend right. I want my labels on the right, and then there we go. Okay, so here you can see on the Fibonacci side that these order blocks, right, go down here, right? You see these order blocks? The order blocks are sitting in Fibonacci areas, right? So these areas are just the Fibonacci's. These are targets where you would be looking to go down to, and different levels, depending on where you were, would basically be your entries or your support and resistance. So this is all the same stuff, right? Doesn't matter what you call it, whether it's a Fibonacci, whether it's the support and resistance, whether it's an order block. Fibonacci's, order blocks, support and resistance are all the same thing. It's just which indicator do you want to use, right? Does that make sense, chat? Hit ones in the chat if that makes sense to you. Am I making sense to you? That's why when a lot of times you guys go out and you're learning multiple things, what you don't understand is that you're kind of just you're just learning a different concept of the same strategy, right? Or a different system for a strategy, right? Or a concept, a different strategy for a concept, basically. So all this is the same thing. All right, these order blocks are down here. Now, how would you get to these order blocks? Well, if you were doing a cluster or what's called a parallel channel, right? You would see here that there's a parallel channel here already, right? So we zoom in here and we take a closer look at this data right here, right? You can see that we've had lines here that came in, and there was taps, right? You see this is a tap, came back, then it hit it again, then it came back, right? This entire cluster was already developed through support and resistance. So this purple box, let me turn this box white so you can see it better. You can see that we've already had a cluster here of bing, 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 bing. This is consolidation, right? Now at the bottom of that, right, the one thing that, you know, having a order block is kind of cool is that an order block, once you get that lower level, it kind of gives you the concept that you should be going. So this also comes down to your system and your strategy, depending on your leverage, right? So based on your leverage, don't forget to share the live, guys. Joe Baby, what up, man? Brian Parker, what up, guys? Welcome in. Chilio, what up, man? All right, so right here, guys, this is just based on your concept of, you know, how you're trading this, right? Leverage determines your system, right? Your strategy is how do I make this trade? Your system is the leverage and how you do this. Max, what up, Max? So if we broke all this down, the one thing that we teach and the one fundamental thing that we always talk about is get greedy on your entries, right? Meaning that we want to get the best entry. So here's a secret. I'm about to make a video called Crypto 101, and I'm going to explain these concepts where it's easy to understand what you're doing to make sure that you're successful, right? And if you guys want to learn how to do this, there's a free group on TikTok that we have that you can join and get into the free group, right? So let's dig in here and get to where we can see what's happening, right? So this all comes down to basics, right? So make sure you understand, do your due diligence, your triple D, right? Triple D, do your due diligence, right? It's very simple. Do your due diligence. Make sure you understand what you're doing and do it right. Okay, so here on this chart, we can see that there's support and resistance, and then when that support breaks down, right, a little bit lower, then that gives you an area, right, where you can target of a lower order block, right? You always want to have the lowest option. The second thing is understanding how much this is moving, right? You go and get a long position, measure the top and bottom of the current cluster, which is 1%, which means this is a cluster that is, you know, you can get in at the bottom, and if it breaks to the top, it's a 1% move. So this, depending on your system, if you're doing a 50x, you can make 50% every single time it bounces, or at least 30% every time it bounces off the bottom, giving you multiple trades that you can take advantage of and make money, right? So this is what this is, right? Now, once there's a liquidity sweep, you guys hit ones in the chat if you know what a liquidity sweep is. It's detected that the live chat didn't appear on your screen in the past 2 minutes. Try using a mobile device for comments, etc. Yeah. I got that, man. I'm good with that. So, what this comes down to is this. Once you see the breakout, right, you have to understand how to build your move. So here would be getting the lower entry section here. Once it pulls back, you get your entry right here, the lower block. The more this goes back and forth, it builds momentum. This is the what we call where charters are very, probabilities play in, right? And what Lux Algo's doing with their indicator we just watched that video on is that they've included something important, which is how many sellers, how many buyers, right? Now, our system is completely designed with one indicator, right? And that indicator is called the VCMTE, Making Trading Easy volume tracker, because the only thing that matters is the volume. So what its job is to let you know when the price action and money's there, or when it's exhausted and it's going to go the different direction, right? That's really what we have here, and that's really what we're watching, right? So here, once you get those lows in and you get locked in, you have these order blocks that bring you up. Now, the one thing about the other indicator, so here's another indicator here. This is the Smart Algo, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to make some adjustments to this one right here, because I want it to be a little more aggressive. So you can see here when we move it to swing, right, it's looking for the short position, right? It's not expecting this trade to do a lot. Just looking for the opposite. So here, this is an entry point that can build into a long, right? Now, what this indicator here is another Lux Algo Smart indicator. This one basically waits for the breakout to happen, as you can see here. And then on the retest is where it decides to put an entry, right? You see this little entry mark right here? And that right there is an entry point right about here, okay? That's the entry that it's looking for right there. And then it's looking to get up here and touch these numbers up here eventually as it walks down over the next day or sometime. And that's really what gets it down to the next level, where it's working itself into the long haul, right? And kind of like a long period here. Now, this could take a little bit of time, all based on the volume, but that's the way it's seeing this particular play. Now, if we're looking at all the indicators here, the Fibonacci is showing me that there is a weakness in the volume because it's showing me that it's upside down, right? Meaning that it's targeting the 786, which is, you know, these lower levels of 9.2 area. It's not showing an upward movement here currently. And it brings the possibility of them pullbacks. But if we're looking at all the lines here, right? Let me use this takeoff line as a an extension of the current support and resistance, right? And we can see here that on the support and resistance side, we have came down. We didn't touch the support right here. It came up. It didn't get to the middle ground, which is where we'd want it to break down from. So that's a little bit of weakness, but it is, you know, building momentum, and it is making higher highs, right? So the entry is looking good because it's starting to, you know, break up off of this, and we do have an entry here at 9241, right? So we're looking at our trade here, just to kind of an example. 9241, you know, the trade that we're getting into was right here. Let me put the price for you. When we got on this live, we put an entry here at 9258, so that was 41. So slightly off, but that's what we're looking for here, playing that particular move to the upside here, which is the 2 minute Lux Algo support and resistance zone. And then we're looking for this to actually break up, take its time, and it looks like on this, you know, trajectory here, getting up to 9412. So order blocks, what's our goal there? 50-minute goal. It's detected the live chat. Okay, that doesn't matter. What we got there, man? Welcome to VC, guys. So hit the ones in the chat if you understand that order blocks are simply support and resistance zones, right? The only thing an order block does is, you know, when you use an indicator, it self registers, right? So if you want to use a free one, that's the one I have there. But let's go into here and let's take another look while we're waiting on this long. Let's go over to the best order block trader in the game. Let me see, that's where we're finishing it.
And how order.
So we're going to close out of that one.
Most traders think they know breaker blocks, but what if we told you the way you're using them is completely wrong, and it's costing you trades every single week? In this video, we're breaking down breaker blocks completely. You'll learn exactly how to spot them, trade them, and avoid the mistakes 95% of traders make. And the best part, we'll show you a free indicator that automatically detects breaker blocks, plus a full step-by-step strategy you can start using today. Let's dive in. Here's the truth most traders miss. The market doesn't reverse randomly. It leaves footprints, and breaker blocks are those footprints. They show you exactly where smart money and institutions changed their bias and flipped from bullish to bearish, or bearish to bullish. So why does this matter to you? Because breaker blocks give you 3 critical advantages. First, they help you identify high probability entry points right at the moment of reversal. Second, they show you when market direction is about to flip before everyone else catches on. And third, they keep you on the right side of institutional flow instead of getting caught in fake outs and traps. Think about it for a second. How many times have you watched price break through support only to reverse and rocket higher, or break resistance, then collapse seconds later? Those aren't random spikes. They're breaker blocks in action. Once you understand how to spot them, you'll never see reversals the same way again. Let's start with the foundation.
Simon, what's going on, man?
Breaker blocks,
Clay
you need to
Browning.
understand order blocks. This is non-negotiable. Breaker blocks are simply failed order blocks, so if you don't know what an order block is, you'll miss the entire concept. Here's the simple definition. An order block is an area packed with unfilled limit orders. When price hits that zone, you see explosive reactions. But why do these zones matter so much? It's because smart money doesn't use market buy or sell orders like retail traders. They use limit orders in specific ranges, quietly building their positions. That's what creates order blocks. These zones are where institutions accumulate or distribute before driving prices in their intended direction. And when price comes back to retest that zone, you're watching institutional support or resistance in real time. So how do you spot a bullish order block? Easy. Find the last bearish candle before a strong move up. That down candle is your bullish order block. Price dipped, institutions jumped in quickly with size, and then price pushed higher. When price returns to that zone, you're looking for longs. For a bearish order block, flip the logic. Find the last bullish candle before a sharp drop. That's where smart money sold. When price returns to that zone, you're looking for shorts. Now here's something most traders never think about. True order blocks come from the order book, the real-time record of buy and sell orders sitting in the market. That's where you can literally see where liquidity is waiting. But platforms like TradingView don't provide full access to the order book, so retail traders have to identify order blocks using price action instead. That's where technical analysis comes in. Reading structure, volume, and candle behavior becomes your way of decoding where institutions...
So now, if you guys understand, the indicator that we have, the indicator that we use, right? When we use it, it's called price action, right? So when you see our indicator, you can see down here. Let me see where we got pulled up here. That's my smart Fibonacci's. Oh, right here, right. Price tracker. Let me open this up. Settings, volume tracker, right? So when we go to indicators, scripts, right? VC, right here. Price action, right? You see that? Price action tracker, right? Moon volume pro strategy. This is a price action, right? We do price action. This is what we've been teaching for 7 years. Oh man, probably, I mean, just in crypto, 7 years, but 15 years this has been taught. Now in today's age, they're talking about it because they finally figured it out. So if you guys understand, how many times have you heard me say volume is king, price action's the only thing that matters? Patterns, flagpoles, all these things that people are talking about, patterns don't matter. They only work 50% of the time. The only thing that matters is price action and volume. Okay, guys? That's what I'm trying to teach you guys, right? So yeah, let's see what this. So far, we're on a good
place
journey
those limit
here.
orders. When you see displacement or those explosive moves away from a zone,
Change
you've likely just found where those orders were hiding. And here's the key. Order blocks work because they represent unfinished business. Institutions rarely get all their orders filled at once. They leave resting orders behind. So when price revisits that area, those remaining orders get filled, and the market reacts instantly. But not all order blocks are equal. The volume inside the zone matters. High volume means strong conviction. Low volume means weaker interest and a higher chance of failure. Volume tells you which zones to trust and which to ignore. This free indicator automatically plots order blocks in real time and shows you the volumetric data in each one. There'll be a link in the description to get access. Now here's where it gets interesting. A breaker block is simply a failed order block. Read that again. A breaker block is what forms when an order block gets invalidated, when price breaks through it instead of bouncing off of it. In other words, what used to be an area of strength becomes a point of weakness. If a bullish order block breaks, it tells you buyers are exhausted and sellers have stepped aggressively. If a bearish order block fails, sellers are trapped and buyers are now in control. That failure is your early sign that market structure is changing. It's where smart money starts positioning for the opposite move, while retail traders are still holding on to the old bias. So, here's how you identify a breaker block. Step 1, find an order block. Step 2, watch price break through it with conviction. Step 3, that broken order block is now a breaker block. The zone that was supposed to provide support or resistance has flipped roles. Let's make this concrete. read. Say you've got a bullish order block, a zone where you expect buyers to step in. Price approaches the zone, but instead of bouncing off of it, it breaks below. That bullish order block just became a bearish breaker block. If the price returns to that zone, it will now act as resistance. And the same thing applies for bearish order blocks. You've got a bearish order block, which is an area where sellers stepped in the market aggressively before. Price approaches, but instead of rejecting, it breaks above. That bearish order block just became a bullish breaker block. If price returns to that zone, it'll act like support. But what does a breaker block actually tell you? It shows you that the previous bias was wrong. It shows you exactly where trapped traders are caught and where institutions are now building in the other direction. This is why breaker blocks are so powerful for catching reversals. They don't just mark a level, they mark a shift in control. They highlight the moment the market flips from weak hands to strong hands. And once you understand that concept, the next step is seeing it unfold live on your chart. That's where this free breaker block indicator comes in. To add it to your chart, head over to TradingView, click the indicators button at the top, search for breaker blocks, and click on this one by...
All right, breaker blocks. So let's go see if we can grab this real quick. All right, so breaker blocks by Flux Chart. Bang. All right. So now we have breaker blocks, right? Perfect. Okay. Now the reason why I'm showing you guys how to lock them up, I'm showing J-Mo, what up, baby? J-Mo, we gotta get you squared away, big dog, but we'll get that later. So the reason why I show you guys how to do this research and, you know, find things that matter so that you can, you know, put the time in. And then I realize you guys don't have a lot of time to build concepts, research, and make these things happen. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go live for you during the days, and you guys can hop on at, I think it's 2 p.m. Central till 7 or 8 o'clock Central. And I will go through these videos and these indicators and find these, you know, new creations that allow you to understand, you know, you can implement, right? Because it's the same thing. It's support and resistance. It's Fibonacci's. It's always the same. But this way you guys don't think if someone's talking breaker blocks or, you know, all these things that you think that you don't understand it. It's just support and resistance. That makes sense, guys? Thanks for the follow, Clay Blowing. What up, baby? Don't forget, guys, right now, go ahead. Hey, Embroidery Goat. What up, man? Guys, share the live and let's get ourselves up there, man, where we're getting in here and building, right? So let's take a look here. Very simple concept. And what I want to show you guys is how all these indicators that are out there, what they mean, but more importantly, turn it around to show you guys how you can create a strategy and then use our indicator to, you know, get that strategy done. Okay, so here we got the breaker blocks. Perfect. Let's go back to the video and see what else we got here.
Flux charts. There will also be a link in the description for easy access. Here's how it works. The indicator automatically detects when order blocks fail and converts them to breaker blocks. You don't have to manually track anything. You just need to watch for the zones to appear and understand what they're telling you about market structure. The best part is it works on any time frame in market. Whether you're scalping, day trading, or swing trading, the indicator will work. Before we walk through the strategy that ties it all together, let's go through the core settings so you understand exactly what you're looking at. The first setting is volumetric info. This toggles whether the indicator displays volume data for each breaker block. When it's on, you'll see the total volume of the candlestick that broke the original.
All right, so let's go back and let's see that it's on. So I'm gonna drop this down, volume breaker block. Let me put it on. Okay, let's go back to the video.
Order block. This is critical information. You want to see which breaker blocks have lots of volume behind them so you don't get faked out. Order block invalidation determines when the indicator decides the original order block has failed and a breaker block should be formed. Choose wick if you want the earliest possible signal, triggered the moment.
Okay, I like this because they're also telling you settings. Most of the time I have to go in here, test this out forever, and then find and fix this for you. So let me see where. Which one was that on?
That broke the original order block. This is critical information. You want to see which breaker blocks have lots of volume behind them so you don't get faked out. Order block invalidation determines.
Order block invalidation. Okay, order block wick. Done.
When the indicator decides the original order block has failed and a breaker block should be formed, choose wick if you want the earliest possible signal, triggered the moment price wicks through the level. Choose close if you want confirmation from a full candle close. This setting shapes how quickly your breaker blocks appear, so set it to match your style. Breaker block invalidation works the same way, but for active breaker blocks. Wick means the zone is invalidated the moment price wicks through the other side. Close waits until a candlestick fully closes past it. The last setting is the swing length. This is used when finding breaker block formations. Smaller values will result in finding smaller and more frequent breaker blocks. If you want a few but more significant breaker blocks, you should increase the swing length. You should start with the default setting and adjust it based on your trading style. Now that you understand exactly what breaker blocks are and how to use the free indicator that automatically detects them, we'll put them to work with a simple trading strategy you can start using today.
Strategy
Pair
time,
liquidity
baby.
sweeps with these breaker blocks to find high probability trade setups. Here's a simple overview. Price approaches a key level such as a previous day, week, or month high or low. These are liquidity levels. Retail traders have their stops sitting right above or below these levels. Smart money knows this. So what do? They push price through the level, trigger all those stop loss orders, grab that liquidity, then reverse the market in the opposite direction. That's called a liquidity sweep, and right after the sweep, you'll often see a breaker block form. But here's the critical part. You don't enter immediately. You wait. You wait for price to pull back and retest that breaker block. That retest is your confirmation. That's your entry. Let's make this practical. We're going to use the price action toolkit from Flux Charts.
All right, so let's take a look at what we just saw here, because I saw where we actually saw a breaker block here. So what they're saying here is the pullback that we're getting, or this bounce that we're getting right now, is saying that once we hit this breaker block right here, then we could expect a downward movement from here, right? So let's see where we're at here. So far we're pushing up, we're getting what we want. You take a look at the trade that we talked about earlier. You can see that we have the trade that we want pulled down right there, right? So now you're seeing this weakness in the volume there, and we can see that we're getting weaker as this moves up, right? So concept wise, it didn't quite hit the breaker block yet, but it looks like it's closing in on there, which would cause a short from this position.
This indicator automatically plots previous session, day, week, and month highs and lows on your chart. The levels are there, updated in real time. Plus, the toolkit includes multi-time frame breaker blocks. You can see breaker blocks from the 30-minute chart while you're trading on the 5-minute chart. This gives you higher time frame context without switching charts.
I like
the price
that.
action toolkit is part of our premium indicator suite. It's built for traders who want liquidity levels, breaker blocks, order blocks, fair value gaps, all in one place. There's a link in the description to get instant access. Now let's jump into some real trade examples. We'll start with a long trade first. Open up any asset and select the 5-minute time frame. Let's say price is approaching the previous day low. This is a key liquidity level. Retail traders that entered long have their stops sitting just below this level, hoping to catch a reversal. Watch what happens. Price breaks below the previous day low. Those stop loss orders get triggered. Breakout short sellers pile in, but then price reverses. It doesn't just bounce. It rips back above the previous day's low and keeps going higher. That breakdown, that was a Now let's jump into some real trade examples. We'll start with a long trade first. Open up any asset and select the 5-minute time frame. Let's say price is approaching the previous day low. This is a key liquidity level. Retail traders that entered long have their stops sitting just below this level, hoping to catch a reversal. Watch what happens. Price breaks below the previous day low. Those stop loss orders get triggered. Breakout short sellers pile in, but then price reverses. It doesn't just bounce. It rips back above the previous day's low and keeps going higher. That breakdown, that was a liquidity sweep. And at the high of the move that caused the sweep, you'll see a bearish order block get broken. That broken order block is now a bullish breaker block. But you don't enter yet. This is where most traders mess up. They see the reversal and jump in
You have to get the
immediately. Don't
retest.
do that. Wait for the retest. Price rallies up, then pulls back down toward that newly formed bullish
1,
breaker
2, 3,
block.
baby.
This is your moment. As price approaches the breaker block zone, you're watching for the retest.
So you guys should already know, if you're in trading, you should understand that I just literally covered this 20 minutes ago. Price has, well, where's the chart? Right. What we're looking for, did we put it here? Nah, where did we put it? We're just covering this right here. All right. What do we say? There's a breakout. There's the retest, and then there's the breakout, right? So it's always a retest, right? You guys should already be aware of that, and that's really what that comes down to. You always got to play that retest, that area right there. So right now it's breaking below its support, but let's see what this is going on here.
Test. When price touches that zone and strongly rejects it, that's your entry signal. Price retesting the breaker block, combined with the liquidity sweep that already happened, gives you the confluence you need for a high probability trade. Where's your stop loss? Below the breaker block. If price comes back and breaks that zone again, the setup is invalidated. Where's your target? Look for the next liquidity level above. A swing high, previous session high, previous day high. That's where price is likely headed. Smart money swept the lows, now they're targeting the highs. Now let's flip it and walk through a short trade setup. Same logic, opposite direction. Price is approaching the previous day's high. Retail traders have sell stops sitting just above this level, hoping to catch a breakout. Watch what happens. Price breaks above the previous day high. Stops get triggered. Buyers pile in, but then price reverses. It doesn't just reject. It collapses back below the previous day's high and keeps dropping. That breakout, that was a liquidity sweep. And right at the low of the move that caused the sweep, you'll see a bullish order block get broken through. That broken order block is now a bearish breaker block. But you don't enter yet. You wait for the retest. Price drops down, then rallies back up toward that newly formed bearish breaker block. This is your setup. As price approaches the bearish breaker block, you're watching for the retest. When price touches that zone and strongly rejects it, that's your entry signal. Price retesting the breaker block, combined with the liquidity sweep that already happened, gives you the confluence you need. Where's your stop loss go? Above the breaker block. If price comes back and breaks that zone again, the setup is invalidated.
Reverse.
Where's your target? Look for the next liquidity level below. Swing lows, previous session low, previous day low. Wherever the next cluster of stops is sitting, that's where price is likely headed. Smart money swept the highs, now they're targeting the lows. That's the setup. Here's why this strategy works. You're trading based on what institutions are doing. They sweep liquidity.
All right, so let's go here. Check this out, right? So we have where it touched the liquidity, it broke down, it retested, came back down, retested, came back down, retested, came back up. Now your stop loss actually should be right here, right? It should be the top here. So far it hasn't retouched its stop loss, which would be 68,641, right? Now it's created a 5-minute lower one here, which is where what they're looking for is that you would be putting an entry point at this level here, and then that would be considered the move down, which would be the short. Now you can see that we already have a short position here at 67,260, right? So this is already kind of claimed in the short position. I'll turn this red. So that's where, so what we do here is on this other Lux Algo indicator is that we actually use the top of the stop loss to become an entry point, right? Because we like to get the tops or the highest probabilities in order to take advantage of the greatest gains, right? And that's a system that we use. That's part of our system, right? Strategies are how you trade. This is a strategy. This is a breaker block strategy, right? There's the Elliott wave strategy. There's the support and resistance strategy. There's the Fibonacci strategy. They're all the same. Just a different way to a mind to wrap their concept around why prices do what they do and why they bounce. So what we do here is very simple, is that we go back to the highest point. So this is our system, right? The system allows us to be very highly profitable traders, because the way we trade is we go for the best entry possible, so that no matter what, we lose 50% less than a good trader and 90% less than a terrible trader. Then our gains are 80% higher chance of winning, because we don't need the full trade to happen to be successful. We just need it to return to where everyone else entered, right? So we're guaranteed for that to happen, because most of the time on the pullback, the retest, people enter and bring it back to where the original entry was, by the people who entered incorrectly, so we have higher odds of being successful. So if that makes sense to you, man. Don't forget to follow Lock 'em Up. We'll be back on here, but we're digging in here into the concepts of like how to piece together how to see this, right? How to get this in your brain, right? So far they have different sections here, right? So 140, 417. So this area is gaining, and then I think this is 439. So the volume, as you can see, is coming down, which means that it's validating that when it gets up there, it should actually create the short that we're looking for. Now we're a little bit higher. The short that they're saying will be more in the 67 100 area, which could possibly be about there, because that would also be depending on you can see there's a channel here, right? So when you complete this channel right there, you can see that on this move up, it's probably going to be somewhere in there. So about $67,000 you would look for a rejection, and then for it to make its way back down to an area of about 63,950. That's how we're going to get to TP2, right? You guys see that right there? These are also, this is once again a parallel channel, the support and resistance area, which also coincides with the bottom of this breaker block. So it's all coming to about 69,915. Now what can we use that to do? We can turn around and say, okay, so we are in a long, right? So we can look at this and go 66,900, right? So now we have a target. You can go down here, set your target, and what your it'll be a little different because we're on Doge. Oh, that's Doge. Let's see. All right. So let's sling in here. I'm going to change this to Doge real quick so I can show you guys how you would set a take profit scenario. Okay. So here, same scenario. This has 8.5 million sales, 2 million sales. This is gaining momentum. Our stop loss on this one is showing a little bit weaker. It's showing that 9288 would be where you sell, where this shows that if it touches the higher base area, that's where we would be looking. And then based on how this channel is moving, we'd probably be somewhere in this position here of 9337. Right, so that's kind of where Doge is looking to be, right? But we do have this 5-minute breaker here where it came down. This is the bullish breaker. It broke below it. It didn't fully break through, but then it pushed up. So it's in that little movement pocket here. But it does look like we are getting to the area where for us we'd be thinking 9288, right? So we go over here, 9288 is pretty close to where we already hit right here. So that looks like that would have been our profit taking area, right? This little line right here seems to be the match that we're looking for. Since we already hit it once, twice, we're probably in a position where it's not getting the momentum it needs, right? And that's pretty much how you set it up. So this breaker here doesn't look like it retouched twice here. So you'd hit it, tested it, and this is where you would put your short in. You'd have been shorting right here. Once this bullish broke out, it touched it, came down, you'd be looking in this area here, right? Which, you did get a double touch here. So messing around with them, it's still coming down to the top, the double top, the support of resistance. But like I said, each indicator that you add allows you to have a visual that could make trading a lot easier for your brain, to have the concept to decide when to make a trade, right? Which helps you be more confident in your trade versus not making a trade that you should make, right? So we'll do a little more videos on these. build them up, guys, and get them going. Volume price. Volume is at, yeah, and don't forget, guys, volume is king. So if you want to learn, man, how many people hit the ones in the chat if you're trying to learn how to trade? Send me a Gmail. Look at the information inside there. You'll see it right there. VC Crypto Nation. Oh, you know what? I got the wrong. My bad, man. That's not the email, bro. I'm sorry, guys. It's VC Crypto Nation at Gmail. Ooh wee. I've been saying it wrong all day, man. All day. But yeah, so it looks like we are getting our lower area. Our confirmation for the sales would have been in that area down below. Who's this? What is B? Turo. So I got to take these phone calls. I got to get back in business. It does look like we are moving to the downside here. And we can see that on the shorts. So right here is our volume indicator. Look right here. See how this is starting to break down right here on the 2 minute. So it looks like we're going to have we're a little bit late at night here. So it looks like we're going into the short side of things. So we're going to close out here. We had our bounces to where we want them. So just kind of like looking around and testing them all out. It does seem like, we have good breaker blocks here, good concepts going together. How to set your short, real simple. Market, go a little bit lower than what it is. Take yourself in there. So it looks like you can kind of look for yourself to get these last bounces. So if you're going to short here, look for that short at 9288. Look for that last bounce. Let's see here. And 9233 would be the breaker block. So let's take a look, finish this up here, and then we'll get out.
Liquidity to fill their orders. Invalidated order blocks, which turn to breaker blocks, signal a flip in the market's direction. And when price retests those breaker blocks, you're entering with the institution.
So let's go over here. So the way this looks, so this is the break, right? You see how it broke there? And then the concept would have been putting a short position there at 9337, right? And then that would have gave you this pullback here. So we're going to take this strategy, put it into using the moon indicator as a full strategy. I'm going to make some videos on this and, build on top of this. This might be an easier way for a lot of people to understand how to make shorts and longs. I'm not really sure yet until I make the full video. But this seems, we've done order blocks before. I like this indicator because it gives me a little more information, a volume information, and then I can compare that with our moon indicator. So, price action and volume is king. And anytime an indicator has that included, then we're on the right track here. So I do like this. So we're going to, close out today and jump on some other things. But, as far as I'm concerned, I like this little concept here with showing me the volume and the stuff like that. I got to make some adjustments to the scenario, but I think this could end up working pretty well here. So we'll make a video on that. We'll come back to this tomorrow and get back in this groove sometime tomorrow, the next day, and dig into this concept here. Probably over the weekend, Saturday. Well, I normally go Monday through Friday. We'll hop in here and dig into this session and really find out, what we can do with this here, and if there's a way to create a full strategy for it. So it's very simple, guys. Appreciate you guys hanging out, man, as always. There we go. And always, good luck. God bless, guys. Who jumped in? Don't forget to hit the Gmail. Yo, time! If you guys are trying to get in, check out the comments. The Gmail's in there. It's the same as the channel, VC Crypto Nation, except without live. At TikTok, it says live. I might change that on there as well. But it's just VC Crypto Nation at Gmail. Keeps it very simple. Let me see what we have on TikTok. I might be able to update that. VC Crypto Nation live, edit profile. Let's take away live. There we go. Oh, what? VC Crypto, we got our name back, boys. It took 2 years to get that back. Randomly, we got our name back. Well, congrats, man. It's a new year. We got our things back. VC Crypto Nation. Go figure, guys. This is a monumental day. that they had stole our name from us, some other people, and we got it back, man. So congrats to the team. VC Crypto Nation at Gmail, baby, just like the page. Let's go. I'm excited about that, man. That made my night. All right, so we're gonna go back to this. We're gonna check out the order blocks, finish all this out, and then we'll give you more information.
Following their footprints step by step. The
We'll
price
dig it
action
out,
toolkit.
guys. Well, other than that, man, we are good, guys. So if you're in the Discord, thank you for showing up. We'll get this done. Good luck. God bless. I'm stopped streaming over there. I'm popping off that on the Discord as well. Let me see here. We're going to escape this up here. Drop this down. Pop open our Discord. And like I said, guys, what's this? Oh, we got a motion. We're going to hop out of here. Am I in here? I don't think I am. We're going to disconnect. We're disconnected there. We're disconnected there. Perfect. And then it has one here. So let me disconnect here. There we go. We're fully disconnected, guys. We only have the live on right now. So other than that, we're going to close out the live. Thanks for coming in, guys. Don't forget to follow. Go like some videos. Like, share, comment. Get yourself set up. We're going to piece together a strategy for these. Did you guys like this live? Hit ones in the chat if this was educational, where we can work on these order block, opportunities. Maybe that'll help you understand the support and resistance areas. And, who knows? Right? See you soon, baby. All right, good night. God bless, guys. Have a great day. What you chowing on, dog? Damn. Big hungry bastard. Boom. What you think, man? Pick shoe.
is not financial advice. This is purely education. There are things called charting. There's a thing called trading, right? Charters.
You done?
Mm-hmm.
Yo, yo, yo! My loud mouth is back, bitches. Can you mic it? Hello? Like that? You good? Okay, good. I'm happy to be back. Oh my god, last one again, y'all. I think we come out. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm back. I'm kidding. Yeah, watch my back. I'm scared. I feel like if I go forward, he's gonna be behind me. How did I get a hit marker? No, I'm just kidding.
Is it worth it?
Nice.
So today, we are going to be building a mobile app from our phone, and we're going to send it to the...
Las Vegas, Nevada. Take a look at this beautiful home that I have for rent. It has 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms.
The window. Oh, I tried to tell you, cat. Let's go. Come on, team.
Yo, ¿qué pasa?
No, you're checking in with you. They,
What's going on under the
they
waterfall?
called me today, but it's been hard to get these article of formation paperwork, bro.
Okay.
I have it at my office, but I ain't been able to go to my office. I try to go online. I thought I could go online and kind of like pull it right now,
Good luck.
but
Yeah, you
I
good.
ain't been able to pull it online. So I'm just gonna get it. I'm gonna make some copies tomorrow out of my office.
Oh, that's good though, man. They at least, you know, staying engaged with you.
Right. Mm-hmm. So just kind of give me an update.
Yeah, no, we good, man. We're just doing what we do, putting everything
Right
together. We're moving tomorrow to another Airbnb, so I gotta get I had to get the rental truck put together. Shit, we're at the point where now I'm using a fucking U-Haul.
Damn. Oh, because you done took everything out of the storage.
I mean, mostly, but I just bought a bunch of shit. I bought a whole studio.
Damn.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. Studio, man. That's kind of where we at with that shit.
Right on, my brother.
Let's see if I can get that.
I ain't one. I got a call full of kids, man. I just wanted to reach out to you for a second.
Yeah, brother. Get back to it. Appreciate you, man. Later, bro.
Yeah, I'm on it.
You think your bald head is gonna hide like that?
Get your bald bitch ass
Yeah,
here.
they're quiet.
Bald and bitchy. I bitch and bald.
Nice.
Oh, my boy said, I'm 79, brother.
I feel like That shit get banned for real.
I'm 79.
It's just such a crazy way to kill people. Good round, man. Wow. Crazy. I have the little red one. No, there's two at B, two at B. No, he's money room. Middle of money room. Watch the money room, kitty cat. Wow. Why don't they line up for me like that?